Ain't nobody messing with my queens, listen up. You ain't gotta love me, cause I love me. Put a hand up if you in the trenches building confidence, and put a hand up if you need some mending for your heart that's healing. Salute, say you in attendance, this army's relentless. A weekly dose of motivation, give me your attention. This is for all the queens going heal by any means. They chasing our self-esteem, it's not as hard as it seems. Go, go, go queen, go. Ain't nobody messing with my queens, listen up.
Welcome to the All Queens Army podcast. It's your girl, your host, Coach Breezy. I am here today with another dope episode for the queens. Yes! Honey, it's a beautiful motivational Monday, and I'm so excited today. It's actually a beautiful day outside right now while I'm recording. I'm just sitting here looking at the beautiful sky, honey. Can't wait to get outside and enjoy the beautiful weather. I hope you guys are having a great day. I'm having a great day. If you're having a yucky day, I hope that my energy flows through the airwaves, honey, and wraps its arms around you, baby, because it's going to get better. I promise. Whatever it is, it's getting ready to work out for you, boo. Okay? I just wanted to let y'all know that it was on my spirit. So today we have a great topic. Can't wait to get into this. This one is going to be a very serious topic though, okay? I'm sure you've already read what the name of this episode is. We're talking about how to identify emotional abuse today, guys. So it is a very important topic. It's definitely not something to play about. I wanted to talk about emotional abuse because in my opinion, it is a very subtle and sometimes undetectable abuse that happens to a lot of people. And what makes it so undetectable, where people can fly under the radar being emotional abusers, because emotional abuse does not leave physical scars. There are no tangible things that you can physically see that show the abuse is happening. It's all mental, all right? It's mental and it's emotional. So I want to talk about it because I genuinely observe so many people in emotionally abusive situations. I'm not even going to say relationships. Some emotional abuse is actually situational, okay? It's not always about a relationship. And we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how it looks, how to identify it, the signs that it's happening. And queens, let's also make sure that when we listen to this episode, we're not just listening to identify if we are in emotional abusive relationships or situations. We're also listening to identify these signs for our loved ones, for our friends, for our children, for our parents. We aren't the only people that we care about. We care about other people. There are other people in our lives who could potentially be in these types of situations. So not only do you want to listen with the intent of hearing if any of these signs apply to you personally in your own personal relationships or situations, you also want to listen so that you can observe and identify your friends and the people that you care about and your family members to see if you see some of these signs in their behavior or their situations, okay? Before we jump knee deep into this topic, I have a couple of announcements, okay? Remember the All Queens Army blog drops every Thursday. Make sure you check out the blog. Also remember that I've created a few life coaching programs. You can check out those packages on the website as well just to see what they entail. If you need some one-on-one assistance, if there's a situation that you're dealing with personally and you need some help and you need some coaching with it, you can actually look at those packages, take advantage of them so that we can work together one-on-one. Lastly, the ebook, How to Create Boundaries and Stand Up for Yourself, is still out on the website. You can download that for free as well. It's such a great book. You know how I know? Because I wrote it myself, child. Okay. So what that book gives you is step-by-step instructions on how to create boundaries. More importantly, how to enforce them. And then, of course, how to stand up for yourself. Okay. So last but not least, make sure you subscribe to the All Queens Army podcast. You can subscribe on the subscribe tab on the All Queens Army website. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Amazon's Audible app, Google Podcasts, and Facebook. Okay, queens, let's get into it. Hey, let's get into it. Like I said, very serious topic today though, guys. Very serious. So let me pipe down. Because y'all know I'm always super duper pumped and I'm always talking super duper fast. But let me pipe down. Seriously, very serious topic today. Something that I do not take lightly. And I really want to make sure that you queens out there have this knowledge about emotional abuse because it is a very serious thing. Emotional abuse is a passive control tactic. It's a passive control tactic that is often overlooked because it goes undetected. And that's why I wanted to talk about it. It starts out very, very subtle. And oftentimes emotional abuse is the first stage of abuse before it escalates to physical abuse. Okay. So it's very important to be able to identify emotional abuse. And I want to say this, emotional abuse victims are not limited to women. Emotional abuse happens to people, period. It happens to everyone. Emotional abusers try to control people by the use of shame. They use blame. A big one that they use is manipulation. They use intimidation, excessive criticism. They will try to isolate you from your friends, from your family, from the people that care about you. They will try to isolate you from the people that protect you. They try to silence your voice. They will keep pounding on and pounding on and pounding on everything you say, constantly trying to discredit you and make you think that your feelings, your thoughts, your opinions are stupid, or that they don't matter, or that no one would believe them, or that no one thinks that way, or no one behaves that way, or no one acts that way, that you're just a silly little rabbit out here in the universe talking crazy. That's what they'll do. And it's to discredit you. It's to make you start second guessing yourself. It's to make you start not trusting your own voice, and not trusting your own intuition, and not trusting your own decision making, and not trusting your own ability to survive and take care of yourself. Okay. All of these things ultimately break down the victim's self-esteem and mental health. And that's why emotional abuse has become a hot topic, because it has been happening for years upon years upon years upon years. But so many generations have made some of the things that happen in emotionally abusive situations, they've made them the norm. We all see them so often in the way that we kid and joke and jest about how we grew up when we were kids. Some people be like, oh girl, it's not that serious. No, but it is. It is. It has lasting effects to your mental health. It has lasting effects to your self-esteem, and not in a positive way, in a very negative way. Now, I will say this. There are some people who may be emotional abusers. Okay, they may be the abuser, but maybe their intent is not purposely to be emotionally abusive. Some of y'all listening may be emotional abusers. You may not know that some of the things that you do are emotionally abusive, because not everyone who's an abuser is doing it with the intent to abuse. Some people are abusers because this is the way that they were raised, because these are the characteristics of what love looks like to them, because this is how they grew up and the environment that they grew up in. Some of these things were normal. How some of the signs that I'm going to give you guys are even signs that people say are how they feel and give love. It has become a very toxic thing. So I'm going to say this. A lot of things that I say about abusers, as well as things about victims, you may be able to relate to both sides of the spectrum. And let me tell you something, it does not make you a horrible person. We're all here in a non-judgmental way. We're all here to grow. You do have to be very, very careful. And we all have a responsibility to learn more about the mental health and the emotional well-being of people generally. Our children, our families, our parents, our friends, our spouses, our coworkers, anyone that we come in contact with, anyone who we have relationships with, anyone who we speak to on a regular basis, we have a social and cultural responsibility to make sure we understand what things and what characterizes emotional abuse, to ensure that we too are not contributing to that problem inadvertently. And that's all I mean, guys. Here on the All Queens Army platform, we're always going to first hold ourselves accountable and then learn how to deal with us being victims. We're always going to identify certain characteristics of things and check ourselves to make sure that we are not also displaying some of those characteristics, because queens, we are not perfect. No one is perfect. Okay, so I want you queens to please make sure you listen to this with an open heart, an open mind, and open ears. When I first opened the episode, I said, listen to the signs of emotional abuse. Listen from the perspective of seeing if you're in an emotionally abusive situation. Also listen from the perspective of if your friends or your family or someone you care about, your children, your parents, anyone that you love, to see if they're in an emotionally abusive situation, okay? So check the signs on both sides. Now I'm asking for a third thing. I'm also asking for you to listen to some of the characteristics of an emotional abuser and just check yourself. That's all. Emotional abuse is so very slight and undetectable, but some of the smallest things, guys, some of the smallest things that some people intend for good, that some people do because it's what they were taught, and it doesn't seem to be a bad thing on the surface, is a very hurtful thing beneath the surface for other people. So I want us to make sure that we're listening with a total open mind. Please. That's all I ask of you guys, okay? So while emotional abuse is most common, or at least most identified in romantic relationships, y'all please keep in mind, it can also happen in friendships and family relationships as well. You can have a dad who's emotionally abusive to his daughter or his son. You can have a mother who's emotionally abusive to her son or her daughter. Some of our parents may have done some things to us or said some things to us or treated us in ways that was emotionally abusive. We may have aunts, uncles, cousins, siblings, managers at work, bosses, supervisors, co-workers, teammates on a team, classmates in school, people that we thought were friends who were emotionally abusive. It doesn't just happen in romantic relationships. Emotional abuse and the diminishing of self-esteem and mental health can happen in any situation in our lives. So here are some signs of an emotionally abusive relationship or an emotionally abusive situation, okay? The person or situation's expectations are unreachable and one-sided. And what I mean about unreachable is they're not realistic expectations. They're expectations of things that you can't possibly do, or that no matter how much you do it, how good you do it, how frequently you do it, how many times you try, it's never good enough. It's never right. It's never perfect. And also I mentioned one-sided. One-sided means that it's always the person or the situation giving the demands. It's never two-sided. It's never they give demands and you meet them halfway and you give demands and they meet you halfway. It's always a give for you. You never get to receive anything. You're never given anything in return. It's always give, do, work, try, but you're never on the receiving end. You're never getting anything in return. You're always just giving, okay? These types of situations often require you to put everything aside to meet the needs of that person or that situation. Literally expecting you to put all of your personal stuff aside and prioritize what that person needs or what that situation calls for, okay? Another thing is, in these types of situations, the person is always dissatisfied with everything you do. You can't ever make them happy, and it's never enough. That is emotional abuse. Like I said, it is where expectations are unreachable, unattainable, and one-sided. So you want to look out for that. Okay, here's sign number 2, ignoring. Ignoring someone, it's abusive, okay? Here are some examples of people ignoring. Refusing to accept your feelings or your perceptions. Like you try to explain how you feel, you try to explain the way you see things, and the person just refuses to see it your way all the time. They refuse to accept your feelings. They try to tell you why your feelings are not valid. They try to talk you down. They try to explain to you why you shouldn't feel that way, why it's ridiculous, so on and so forth, okay? Another way that people ignore you is accusing you of being too sensitive. Oh, baby, this is a big problem, okay? If someone is telling you you're too sensitive, what is too sensitive? We are what we are. If we're too sensitive for you, then chuck the fuck back and let me go. You know what I mean? Like, what exactly is too sensitive? Listen, some people are just sensitive. Some people are super duper sensitive. Some people are super duper sensitive. Baby, I know a lot of people who are super duper sensitive. I live with a person who's super duper sensitive. Everyone is super sensitive in some area or aspect of their lives. Everyone is. Most people are sensitive to things that they're insecure about. And that's okay. We're human. Everyone is sensitive. Don't ever let someone tell you you're too sensitive. Don't ever let somebody tell you that you can't be sensitive about what the fuck you're sensitive about. If I'm sensitive, I'm sensitive. Now, it's not to say that being overly sensitive about things doesn't indicate that maybe there's something in there that you could work on, but it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It doesn't mean that you were broken. No, you just goddamn sensitive, and it is what it is. So be careful of people who constantly accuse you of being sensitive. That is a tactic to shut you up. That is a tactic to stop you from telling them how you feel, to stop you from attempting to hold them accountable, okay? So do not let people tell you you are too sensitive, period. Here's another way that ignoring becomes emotionally abusive. When people start calling you crazy, baby, let me get on my pulpit real quick, y'all. Real quick. I'm going to stop on this pulpit. I detest when people call people crazy. I detest it specifically when people call women crazy. I detest it. It literally makes my hairs on my arms stand up. It makes me so furious when people call women crazy. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it because I feel like it is a way to disregard women's emotions. Yes, sometimes our emotions are off balance. I'm sorry that we're hormonal. I'm so sorry that God made us full of emotion. But let me tell you something about us being full of emotion. See, emotions are the intuition of life. And that's the blessing that God gave us. God gave us a blessing of intuition. We feel things. We know shit just because we know. We didn't see it. We don't know how we know. But let me tell you something. When you feel something and you feel it strong in your belly and you can't shake that shit, that is your intuition, baby. And I feel like what has happened is they have used the word crazy and coined that term to make us shut up, to make us step down, to make us second guess our intuition, to make us second guess God's gift. No, ma'am, I will not let you do that to the queens, honey. We are intuitive, ladies. We are emotional beings. God made us that way. Don't you ever dumb yourself down emotionally or let someone make you feel like you're emotionally unstable. Hell, you may be, but so the fuck what? We are all flawed human beings. We are all growing. We are all evolving. We are all learning every single day. Don't you ever let someone tell you you're crazy. And if someone is constantly accusing you of being crazy when you express yourself, when you talk to them, when you're trying to articulate how you feel, when you're upset, when you're sad, when you're crying, when you're thinking something may be happening, when you're accusing someone of cheating, when you're calling out bad behavior, when you're telling them, hey, boo, this don't look right, when you're saying, hey, where was you at this time, at this day, because I got this text. I don't care. Ladies, stop letting people call you crazy. You're not crazy. Stop letting people make you second guess your intuition. Stop letting people make you second guess your feelings. Stop letting people make you second guess what you know that you know because you know, but you don't know how you know. You don't need to know how you know. You know because you know. And stand firm on that. I really detest, I'm pretty sure y'all can tell, I really detest the making women think they're crazy because we're gifted. And I'm going to just leave it at that. And that's on Murray Had a Little Lamb, period. Okay? Okay, here's the next thing. I'm going to have to speed it up because otherwise we're going to be here all day. No more sidebarring, guys. I got to just stick to the facts, which is hard for me, but I got to do it. Okay, here's the next sign that ignoring you can turn into emotional abuse or has become emotionally abusive, okay? Someone dismissing or ignoring your needs for requests, like dumbing it down, saying it's not important, tossing it to the side, or accusing you of being selfish. Ooh, baby, Lord. I don't want to get back on the pulpit. I'm off, y'all. I'm not getting back on. But I'm going to just say this. A lot of times when people accuse you of being selfish or any other characteristic, especially when it's actually them who's selfish or whatever the characteristic they deemed you with, that's abuse. When people start trying to project on you that you are this or you are that, insert whatever negative characteristic you want, but it's actually them, baby, that projection, that constant projection is abusive. Don't try to make me out to be the bad guy when it's really you. Don't try to label me as the thing that you are. Own your own shit. I'll own mine because I'm imperfect too, but own your own stuff. Don't try to make me think I'm you. No, you're you and I'm me. And that's that. I'm not going to get back on the pulpit, y'all. Okay, here's the third sign of emotional abuse, okay? If the person starts unnecessary arguments, oh my gosh, I know so many people like this and so many couples like this, where drastic mood changes or nitpicking about every little thing, erratic and unexpected and unwarranted bouts of anger just cause arguments for no damn reason. Baby, that is abusive. When you literally have no idea when this person gonna pop off, when they're gonna get super angry, when they're gonna go from 0 to 100. See, that's an intimidation tactic. That's basically trying to force you to walk around on eggshells. That's literally trying to force you to quiet your voice, to not say something that's gonna piss the person off, to not move too far to the right or too far to the left because they're gonna be irritated, to not turn the TV up too loud, to not vacuum the floor and make sure you see the lines every Monday at 6:05 p.m. time, to make sure that you call me 11 times when you leave out the house because I'm pretending to be worried and you just left 5 minutes ago to go see your mama, to make sure that you don't go out with your friends and maybe even potentially have a little bit of fun because they don't want to risk your friends finding out what's really going on, okay? It's all an intimidation tactic to silence you and make you not trust yourself, to make you walk around on eggshells, to make you not be sure of when the goddamn volcano is getting ready to explode so you don't want to move. No, baby. If you see signs like that, it's emotional abuse. Now, let me get to the fourth sign of emotional abuse. And this one is the most dangerous thing. I'm going to spend a lot of time on this particular one. Now, I also want to say, Queens, this is the last sign that I'm going to identify for emotional abuse. There are a ton more signs. I just don't have time in this one episode to get to all of them, okay? So I want to put that out there so no one thinks that I'm saying this is it. This is not it. There are hundreds and hundreds of signs of emotional abuse. I've identified 4 major signs and then a couple sub characteristics in there. So this is the last one that we're going to address today, but I promise you guys I will make more content to go further into emotional abuse, okay? So this one I saved for last because to me it is the most dangerous and detrimental sign of emotional abuse, and that is emotional manipulation. And this one I see the most. I see it all the time, where someone is always making you feel guilty, where they will humiliate you publicly in front of your family or your friends, where they focus on your flaws, when they withhold affection as punishment or give you the silent treatment as punishment, or purposely withhold sex and purposely decide to not physically engage with you, when they treat you like you're inferior or beneath them, or constantly condescending or constantly criticizing you and cutting you down all the times, when people make those mean jokes and then they turn around and try to laugh about it, and if you respond, then they try to make you feel stupid for feeling sensitive or feeling attacked, then literally try to make you feel stupid or make you feel like you're overly sensitive or make you feel like, oh, you can't take a joke. Oh, you take everything so serious. A person who will throw rocks and then hide their hands, which we also call gaslighting. A person who is hurtfully sarcastic all the time, or accusing you of cheating all the time, or accusing you of anything that you're not doing all the time. Using jealousy as a sign of love. Baby, I could go into that one. Oh my goodness. I'm not getting back on that pulpit. I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep going, okay? All right. So not wanting you to spend time with others, including your family, your friends. Emotional manipulation is dangerous, because once a person gets to a point where they are emotionally manipulating you, they've already successfully torn down your self-esteem. They have torn down your self-esteem. They have made you forget who you are. They have probably separated you from your support system, from your family who cares for you, from your friends who would take care of you. That's why, Queens, in the beginning of this, I said, make sure you listen to this to hear signs that may be going on with your friends' relationships, because sometimes you'll have friends who start distancing themselves when they get in relationships, who don't really come around as often, who kind of start acting a little weird. And sometimes we get mad at the friend, or we be like, oh, she brand new, or he acting like this, or they doing this, or they doing that. Sometimes they're not intentionally doing it. Sometimes people are trapped and caught up in emotional abuse, and they are so deep in the quicksand, they don't even realize that they're in the quicksand. They're so busy enjoying the beach, they don't even realize that the beach ain't a beach. The beach is a quicksand, and they're sinking. But because they can still see the ocean and still see all of the things, they think it's okay and trying to pretend that it's okay, trying to save face, because the person that's emotionally abusive got you thinking you in a great situation. Because a lot of time, emotionally abusive people will pretend as if they are the best thing since sliced bread. The life that they're bringing you is a life full of grandeur and royalty, right? And if they successfully manipulate you into thinking some shit like that, you'll be scared to leave. You'll be actually in your mind thinking, this is a great relationship. This is a great person. I get treated well. This is a wonderful job. I get good benefits. They pay me well. I can take off whenever I want. All the while tormenting you emotionally and tearing down your self-esteem and demanding all of your time. How dare you want to spend time with someone else? What, I'm not good enough? What, you don't want to be here? What, you don't want to make the money? Oh, you don't want the promotion? I'm telling y'all, it happens. This shit happens at work. This shit happens in your personal life, in your romantic relationships. This shit happens with your parents. It happens with kids. I wanted to call this shit out. Gaslighting is another big one. It drives me insane. I see it from a mile away. You have to understand, someone will gas you before they like you. They will gas you. They will literally compliment you, tell you how great you are, uplift you, big you up, make you feel feel like you the best thing since sliced bread and make you feel like that the situation that you in with them is the best shit popping. They will gas you up. And then after they gas you up, after you full, after you feel good, then they gonna light your ass up. So a lot of times you sitting there on fire, but you like, yeah, but this is a good situation because, you know, I done got piped up, gassed up, flexed on it, this, that, and the fourth. But what you don't realize is it is a tactic and a form of manipulation. Now, I took gaslighting to a literal place. We all know what gaslighting means. It literally means when you're throwing gas on something, when you're subtly trying to get someone worked up, and then when they get worked up, you try to act like you don't know why the fuck they worked up. That's really what gaslighting is. But I turned it into something else because I wanted to give y'all a visual, because that's what happens with emotional manipulation. All right. Okay, Queen. So I promise you guys, I will make some more content about emotional abuse because it is a thing and it is something that we need to talk about. It is something that we need to learn how to protect ourselves from. It is something that we need to be able to identify, to call it out if we see our family and our friends possibly in those types of situations. Okay. We need to be able to identify these things, and we need to know when we're in a situation or when we see the red flags of a potential situation, and we need to be able to identify it and call it out. All right. So I love you, Queens, so much. Thank you for tuning in today. Please make sure you follow me on Instagram at All Queens Army. And last but not least, please subscribe to the All Queens Army podcast. And once you do, y'all, if y'all can leave me a review, that would be super duper awesome. I would appreciate it. It helps the podcast to rank. Okay. So with that being said, I love you, Queens, so much. Okay. I really do, y'all. I love y'all so much. I can't wait to talk to you guys next week. Until then, have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you soon. I love y'all. Bye.